Good morning, Conn College. It's actually incredible to be here after all these years, to be standing here, here in Palmer, but then B, to be here at TED, so we're excited.
Before we get started, I've got to do one thing. Sorry. It's been bothering me all morning.
So growing up, my whole life, I've actually been striving to be the best. My father, he literally taught me at the earliest age that I was going to be the President of the United States. I mean, I'm serious. He told me, he told everyone he knew. I mean, just to prove the point, I, James Moran, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will to the best of my ability support, protect, defend the Constitution of the United States, so help me God. That's true.
I never wanted to be the best at anything. I just want to have a bit of fun.
I came here. 25 years ago, I came to Connecticut College. And this whole best thing was still rolling inside me. And I said, you know what? I want to be the president of my class.
Well, I've only been here for a few hours, but I like what I see at Conn College. But I love my art college in Kent, England. The moment I stepped into this building, I was inspired. Breath of fresh air.
Well, now that I'm a little bit older, wiser, a little grayer, I've realized something. I know, that shot. We literally debated about this picture all week. For me, I realized that while best, this thing I've been striving for, it's finite, it has a ceiling. But the idea of better, well, that's evolving throughout my life.
I left London, England, with portfolio in hand, because I wanted to be better.
See, I think when you're thinking about it, sometimes you can't always see what's best, but you can always see what's better.
So today, we're going to tell you our better journey.
Paul and I have known each other for 16 years now. And at the time, we were working at some of the largest broadcast branding agencies in the world. And it was incredible because we were working on these incredible brands, and between mid-1990s to early 2000s, you actually couldn't watch television without seeing some of our work, pretty much every single night. And for us, it was an exciting time. We were working on national and international brands. It was a great time. And one of the best parts about working together is that we actually became good friends. And you know, when you're working together and you're starting to learn different things about each other, you actually start to look at the company you're at and you say, well, these companies we were working at were incredibly big, incredibly successful. But as we started talking, we said, well, wait a minute, I think we can do it better.
So, two young entrepreneurs in very bright shirts. We started to think about, well, what should we do? Should we start a company? And when we started to talk about it, it was really apparent that we were two very different people.
Very different.
Mr. Optimism here, which you actually need for a startup company.
Paul, the complete pragmatist, something what you need to grow a company long term.
Well, as you saw earlier, a born leader with all that speed-othy thing, that was pretty good.
You know, Paul is the idea guy. He's the guy who, he comes up with this brilliant idea in the shower, and then first thing in the morning, very casually goes, mate, I think I just solved the whole thing. Of course, he solves everything.
He's still terrible at that accent. Jim, the ultimate salesperson, he doesn't like sales, but he's great at client relations. And when you go into business, you've got to have someone like this man.
Well, Paul's the ultimate kind of mentor of young creatives. And everyone I've ever worked with, they all want to work with him because he's always kind of guiding and fostering them.
He's just got amazing white teeth.
He's English, don't even go there.
Our differences were obviously very different, but they complemented each other. So, better, number one, is differences are better.
All right, so now we started our company in 2002. It's going great, and we landed some really big accounts right off the bat. And it was an exciting time for us because as a young company, we're starting to work with some amazing brands. But then what happened is that we started to get even bigger, and people started to notice us. And as a result, we started to be asked to pitch on much bigger brands. And while this was exciting, because we're pitching on these major pieces of business, and it does a lot of things when you're starting to pitch on pieces of business like this. You start to realize, well, wait a minute, if we win these, we're going to go to that next level. We're going to be able to add more staff. We're going to grow our company. And it becomes very exciting. You see dollar signs, and you're starting to see this whole incredible, incredible growth that's going on. And for us, we said, if we win these, we're on our way. Or so we thought.
We did get excited. But to be honest, we were kidding ourselves. We lost all these pitches.
We did. We lost every single one. And in losing them, we failed to realize a couple of key things. Number one, in that excitement to do it, we realized that we didn't have the resources to handle these brands. And what we did was, in focusing on all these pitches, we were putting all our eggs in one basket. But then finally, we weren't really servicing the clients that had gotten us through the first few years. And for us, it was a big mistake. It hurt us professionally, it hurt us personally, and we really felt it. It hurt us. But it did something else. It actually made us a smarter company.
One of our giants, Paul Arden, the great ad man, summed it up. Our second better, be wrong to be right. It's okay to be wrong. You have to be comfortable. You have to move on. This little book from Paul Arden, it's not how good you are, it's how good you want to be, is all about better. It's that earlier inspiration, and we use it from day to day to get better. We did make some mistakes, but we weren't the only ones. We're in good company. Small companies make mistakes, and large companies make mistakes. So BMW, right? Successful. Great cars. I drive one very fast. And they get better and better. But in 1994, they acquired the Rover Group for £800 million. The Rover Group consisted of a lot of classic marquee cars, from Rover, Land Rover, Mini, MG. But they soon got into trouble. Through poor leadership, BMW, poor leadership, and cultural differences, they started to lose money, and really fast. They were losing at a rate of £2 million a day. And they were forced to sell for a measly £10 million. So massive mistake, very costly. What was it? They had the foresight with the idea of bringing these British icons to save one brand. Now, Mini is a classic car, over 50 years old now. From my days in the 60s, Twiggy, Carnaby Street.
Just told you how old he was.
BMW knew that Mini could do it better. They could build a better Mini. And in 2001, they reimagined the Mini. Respected the design from the 60s. They made it smarter. They made it faster. And they made it fun, personalized. You could customize it however you wanted. 2,000 options just to make it your own. But more than that, they influenced the small car revolution in the US. Smart car, and now the Fiat 500. So while BMW made a really costly mistake, they believed in an early vision, and they kept to it. And they turned the British icon now into a global icon. I love this quote. I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Comes in really handy sometimes.
Now you're comfortable with making mistakes. And that brings opportunity to push yourself. Well, we had that situation happen to us in that we had a client who actually purchased the third largest mountain resort in all of North America. And it's an incredible place, but they had some serious challenges. Challenge is that, how do you get all these skiers, these snowboarders to actually come to this mountain when there's so many other more established places that people want to go to? So they had a real challenge, but they said, wait a minute, we have a really great idea. We're going to invest $100 million of capital investment into this mountain, and we're going to do some big things. We're going to put heated seats, these bubble seats that go, so keep you warm when you're going up the mountain. We're going to put these incredible restaurants in, these organic food restaurants that are going to get people to come and eat here. And by the way, we're going to put these mobile cafes, and they have this idea of putting these mobile cafes all around the mountain, so you're halfway down, you want a coffee, you want espresso, you can go in and grab it. And their mentality was, this money, it's really about if they build it, they will come. And that was their solution. But for us, we challenged them, because they hired us. And we challenged them because we said, you know what, after a few years, your competition is going to probably be doing similar things. So what we said is that they actually needed to rethink this. They needed to really come up with a better mountain experience. And by doing that, they needed to find a new breed of mountaineers. So what we did was we said to them, look, if you think about how we're going to do this, you actually need to redefine the mountain. You need to take the word mountain and you need to turn it into a verb. How do you mountain? And then you really need to make that mountain come to life. And then what we did was we said, look, let's come up with a campaign that's going to find this new breed of mountaineer. So what we did was we created a contest. And the contest was to find this person, this new ambassador for this new emerging mountain. And what we did was we said, look, all you have to do to all the potential contestants was submit a video, 2 minutes, and you have to answer one question. How do you mountain? This is the winner.
Hello, I'm Andy Campbell, and I want you to give me the ultimate mountain gift.
The mountains are the most important part of my life because they're the only place I can feel completely at home and the only place that lets me feel completely free.
I broke my back in a climbing accident 6 years ago.
And that meant finding new ways to explore the mountains. It's definitely more of a challenge now, but that extra difficulty just makes the rewards even greater as far as I'm concerned. So I mountain any way I can. I climb, kayak or paraglide, and that lets me get to places that otherwise would be completely impossible for me to get to. And that freedom is almost overwhelming. It's just amazing, and it's something I can't resist. Skiing is just the most important part of my life, really. I didn't ski before I was paralysed, but that first time I got on a sit ski, it just changed everything. It's just you and a mountain, and nothing else matters apart from how much fun you can have. Go where you want, go down there, go fast. If something gets in your way, jump over it.
So when I'm in a sit ski, when I'm at the top of that run, and I'm looking down and choosing what line I'm going to take, and I can totally own that mountain. I can go where I want. And for the first time, instead of trying to pick the easiest line, the easiest way to get somewhere, I'm just looking for the line that's going to be the most fun. And that freedom is just amazing.
So I mountain with complete freedom and a huge smile on my face.
I'm crazy enthusiastic about the mountains, skiing and getting this job, and I can guarantee that I'll never take one day for granted whilst I can.
What was incredible about Andy is that while we were pushing our clients and trying to say, this is what we need to do and challenging them, he completely challenged us. And which really leads us to our third better. And you have to push yourself and you have to push others. You see, we never expected Andy. No one even conceived of the fact that this video would come through. And when we all saw it, he actually was the second video that came through. And literally our entire team just sat there and said, oh my God. And what he did was, well, he achieved what we really wanted, which was he was that new breed of mountaineer. He brought incredible success to this mountain. But the biggest thing is he inspired all of us to be better.
So our last better is a project in Manhattan. It's on the West Side Highway. It's the second largest building in Manhattan. It's a bit of an ocean liner. 7 miles of just windows. Quite incredible. 5,000 people work in this building. 5,000 creative people work in this building. From designers to fine artists to fashion brands like Hugo Boss and also Martha Stewart is housed there. And these great raw open spaces, these tenants loved. But also there was a bit of a challenge about this building. While it was so huge, it was so far west, it actually takes 10 minutes just to get some food or any other amenities. So we thought, how can we actually harness all this creativity in all these private offices and bring them outside into the public spaces to create a bigger creative community? So we thought about ideas how we could do that. We actually collaborated with a Danish architecture firm called BIG. Some of you may have seen Bjarke, who's been on TED. They were actually tenants in the building. So we started thinking about incubator spaces in these big corridor areas. We started thinking about restaurants, possibly on top of the roof. So some of the more ambitious ones, where Bjarke had the idea of building a 200-meter windmill. Obviously, it makes an artistic statement, but at the same time, it was quite practical. It actually could power the whole building and would pay for itself in 2 years. But this is a landmark building, and it's very difficult to make some changes or even dramatic changes like this. So sometimes you have to step back. Sometimes you have to step back. And our better number 4 is you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes you've got to look for more of a pragmatic idea or even the right idea. So we did a little bit of homework. We started searching the building, going back in history, and we actually found something very interesting. This building was designed for goods to be shipped straight into the building. So actually trucks could drive right into the heart of the building and actually go up these oversized freight elevators all the way up and stop at any of the 16 floors. It was right there in front of us. We just needed to connect the past with the present. So we used the same idea, but we just stuck gourmet food trucks in there, and on each floor, you had a creative menu of food. It gives a reason now to just kickstart this creative community into these public areas of the building. Sometimes the idea is right in front of you. All you've got to do is discover it.
So for us, 16 years of learning, and it really comes down for us into these 4 key things. Our differences were so different, you need to leverage them because you do get better. It's okay to be wrong. Wrong will guide you to being right because you'll learn about your mistakes. You have to push yourself. You can't be complacent. You always have to keep pushing, you and others. And as Paul just said, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes it's right in front of you. These things have guided us. They've been our inspiration, both professionally and personally, and they've helped us get better. No doubt all of you will have your own, and we hope you to add to this list so you can find your better.
But sometimes maybe better's not right for everyone, but we can't help it. It's at the heart of what we do. It's why we get up in the morning. And actually, done right, it can be quite contagious. So we want to leave you with one last thought. If you think you've got a great idea, then make it. But make it better. Thank you.
Thank you.